formation faculty, working with young men who feel the call to become a priest, and walking with them and helping them to discern and be an example to them of what it means to be a priest and what that involves, and just being an instrument. One thing in my priesthood, early on, I came to realize that it's total dependence on the Holy Spirit, and listening to the Holy Spirit moving in our lives, and not always understanding it, but always recognizing the call and being able to respond to it. And also to know it's not about us, that first and foremost it's about Jesus Christ and the person or persons that we're ministering to. I'm a late vocation. I came to the seminary at the age of 39. I was 44 when I was ordained. In my discernment process, I came to realize that God had been calling me from the time I was an adolescent to be a priest, but I did everything to avoid that, so to speak. Not intentionally, but just didn't realize it and such. And I got a degree from St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota in accounting, and I worked for Coca-Cola for 17 years as an accountant. I actually took my mom on a pilgrimage to Rome in 1996, and it had been weighing heavily on my mind at that point, and there was a bunch of Sarans on the trip that I had met. I was very actively involved in my parish before going into the seminary, and got to know some families through that. And one of his father, another woman that I was ministered with, his father was a Saran, and he was on this trip also, and we were waiting to go up into my mother and I to go up into the cupola at St. Peter's, and he was like 4 people ahead of us and the vocation director, and he turned to the vocation director and says, "You need to sign that Ric Halvorson up as a priest. He'd make an excellent priest." And there I'm standing with my mother, and I'm just like, I know she heard it all, but we didn't say anything. But at that point kind of started it. I was not the oldest in pre-theology, but the one gentleman who was older than I am left after pre-theology, so I was the oldest in my class. So what's kind of funny is Father Brendan Lupton, who's on faculty here, who's been encouraging me for a long time to come and be on faculty at Mundelein, he was the youngest in the class. I've always liked to sing, and so when I got here, that provided the opportunity, and a former seminarian from my diocese encouraged me to go to choir, be part of choir, which I did, and then I took vocal practicum 1 and 2 with Father Wojciech, who was wonderful, and he actually gave me one of the best compliments I've ever received in my life. Actually, it was the last day of classes, 4th year. It was the day of the 25th anniversary. Guys ordained 25 years, and several of the guys that year were faculty members, and they asked me to be the deacon for the Mass. And so I chanted all the deacon parts, things of that nature. And after Mass, Father Wojciech came up to me, and he just said, he put his hand on his heart and he said, if every teacher could be so proud of their students. Anyway, so I just always remember that. And so it was just, and I think one of the things too that I remember clearly, once we were ordained priests, and when we came back, for the newly ordained Mass in the fall or other times that we run into faculty, as soon as we became priests, we were equals. We were brother priests with them. And I'll always remember that and appreciate that, and it was very affirming. I just think my overall experience as a priest, I have seen everything and anything, and and again, that whole idea of being open to the Holy Spirit, and knowing it's not about us, it's about Jesus Christ. You can have your whole day planned out of what you think is going to happen, but that phone rings at 4 in the morning, it's the hospital, someone's died, or someone's had a miscarriage, or been a terrible accident, you've got to go and be there, and just making yourself available, and being flexible. That's another thing too. I know things have changed in society quite a bit, even from when I was a youngster and such. And I think the guys nowadays, just people in general, are exposed to so much more in the world today because of internet and instant access to information and news and things of that nature, and just being able to weigh it all and decipher it and make good decisions on how to deal with it and how to minister along with what's going on in the world.